That would be nope. Oh, Emperor Dragles. He's dead, my man. He's been dead for a long ass time. What you talking about? Saint Sandlot. Ooh. Who knows, Rean? We'll figure that out along the way, I guess. And with that, we have our option to hang out with either Eustace or Fee. Let's talk to Makarov. Oh, but look at her. She means no harm. Look at her and her blank expression. She's just happy to be here. How you doing, Beatrix? Poke her a little bit. Break her out of it. I need healing, Doc. I need healing real bad. Let's see. So we have that, and we have a hidden side quest available for us in this very building, in the art room. We'll hang out with Fee if you, that's the domestic room. That's the music room. Yeah, it's home ec. That's the one. There you are. What's up, Linde? I'll help you out, Linde. Let's see your painting, and you're not painting anything at all. You're just... Unless you're using white paint, but... Jesus Christ. Maybe it's so good I can't see it. That is what true art is. So let's get out of here. I need to remember all the buttons. Again, shit. Okay, square for that. We can't go right in front of the gardening shop, but we'll pop up in the place in front of it. What? Damn, girl, you run fast. Something about her seemed a little bit off. Nah, I'm sure it's fine. She did interrupt me when I was trying to fast travel, but whatever. Pop up in front of the park. Oh, what's up, cat? How you doing? It's a pretty bow on your tail. Made her angry. Good job, Rean. You have such a great way with the ladies. Jane, I need some flowers. You got a rose? I mean, Rean's just a little bit oblivious. I mean, just a little bit, not too much. It's kind of dense, like the hardest rock you could ever find. He means well. You have a clone, oh my god. You gave me some socks. Really? And a belt. What? Probably the worst gifts I've ever been given. You're still not painting anything. Jesus. All that work for what? Nothing? Hi, Fee. I don't know. Participate in school. One thing. And you even scared her off, too. But... B. Rean rushed to the window in a panic. I should have been reading those, I guess. No, it's fine. Just jump from 2 stories. It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay. Hooray. Alright, with everything done, let's go back to the dorm. But I have been meaning to do some reading. That's not it. Note. We can do Carnelia, since I have those. I also have Red Moon Rose. Chapter 3. I could have swore I had Chapter 4 too. Unless I fucked up somewhere. I don't think I did. I hope I did, because that means I have to take a trip to, I think, Mict? No, I think I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Okay. Let's go ahead and do some reading. The next morning, Alphonse found himself in his commanding officer's Gerard's office. He had come to request permission to independently investigate the vampire murders. Gerard scratched his head before giving Alphonse a questioning look, his eyes filled with the kind of vitality one would expect from a much younger man. You want to pursue that case all on your own? Alphonse cleared his throat nervously. He was well aware that what he was asking was completely unreasonable. Not on my own. A civilian has agreed to help me conduct my investigation. The two of us will be working together. It sounded pretty weak to him, but Rose had been adamant that they keep the truth of the matter to themselves. It wouldn't be to the benefit of society for the existence of vampires to become widely known. She had insisted. As such, trying to arrange for us to be able to investigate the murders by ourselves without interruption. Aside from a cool farewell for now, those had been her last words before disappearing into the night. And what she had said made sense. There was simply no way that Gerard would believe that vampires existed, even if it was his surrogate son trying to persuade him. After all, despite seeing a ghoul with his very own eyes, part of Alphonse still wanted to believe that it had all been a dream. To compound the problem further, for reasons that Alphonse wasn't privy to, Rose seemed opposed to anything other than investigating the matter covertly. As such, her joining the team formed to officially investigate the murders was off the table. Alphonse was therefore left with no choice but to propose that the two of them investigate together in secret. Alphonse was not surprised, then, to see Gerard's less than willing expression. "Listen, Al, as your guardian, I've got a responsibility to look after you. That's why I want to raise you to be a fine soldier, and why I don't want you putting your life in danger for no good reason." Alphonse flushed. He'd already been removed from the team investigating the murders, as well as taken off night patrol duty. Gerard was well aware of his fixation with the case. That was exactly why he was afraid that Alphonse might end up going too far in his attempts to solve it and get injured or worse. "Gerard, sir, I understand exactly what you're trying to say, and I appreciate your concern, but..." Seeing Alphonse's determination, Gerard hesitated. The boy standing before him was calm with clear eyes, where previously there had been a recklessness. Now purpose and resolve seemed to rule. After a lengthy silence, he set out a sigh of resignation. "You really do take after your father." He smiled fondly, but quickly switched to his official commanding officer voice. "I expect you to give your utmost to successfully solving the mystery behind these murders. However, I will approve of this mission only on the condition that you report daily on the results of your investigation." Alphonse almost responded in his usual casual tone, but caught himself just in time. He coughed, cleared his throat, and stood to attention. Gerard chuckled. "Just be sure not to put yourself needlessly in danger, understood? And if anything happens, inform me immediately." "Yes, sir." Alphonse gave a deep bow, grateful for his guardian's kindness. "I see that everything went well. That is good news." The two of them were in the corner of the shopping district where the first victim of the vampire murders had been found. It was the middle of the day, but the alleyway in which they stood was gloomy and draped in shadows by the looming buildings that surrounded it. The second he had stepped into the narrow passageway, Rose had appeared out of nowhere just like the previous day. Because the place where Alphonse had been attacked by the ghoul that previous night was currently under investigation by the Gerard team, they thought it best to steer clear of it for the rest of the day. As such, they had decided to examine the scene of an earlier murder instead. Unlike the previous night, Rose had neither her coat nor her sword with her. Instead, she wore a simple dress in the local style. Anyone seeing her for the first time wouldn't be able to tell that she was anything more than a perfectly ordinary girl. According to Rose, neither vampires nor ghouls were able to operate in daylight, and thus battle-ready wear was unnecessary. Everyday clothing also had the benefit of allaying suspicion by blending in, she said. It was fine logic, in theory, but with Alphonse still garbed in his military uniform, they made for an unusual pairing. As such, Alphonse couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief when he realized how few people were in the surrounding area. The scene of the first murder still had a solemn air about it. Alphonse set about scouring the area, and as he mused over the case details involving the victim, a question came to mind. Thinking about it, I never heard about any of the earlier victims turning into ghouls. Is that because you've been defeating them? Rose shook her head. No. In previous cases, I was able to purify the bodies with thaumaturgy before, I don't know how to properly pronounce that word, before they turned into ghouls. I would rather not harm the bodies of the deceased if I can help it. Thaumaturgy, as Rose explained it, was a collective name for special techniques used by a small number of people belonging to the Septian Church. The power of thaumaturgy was also apparently the reason why Rose's rapier and Alphonse's short sword were capable of defeating ghouls and vampires. Curious, Alphonse asked Rose if she was connected to the church, to which she responded, "Feel free to think of it that way." He itched to probe her more on the subject, but she began explaining the particulars about ghouls, so he let it drop. Since the murders had started, it seemed that the time it took for a corpse to turn into a ghoul was decreasing with every kill. Alphonse's encounter with the ghoul the previous night was the first occasion that she had been unable to purify the victim in time. As such, she had been left with no choice but to fight. Still, that possibility was well within my expectations. It's not the first time it has happened, after all. That someone like yourself would appear and try to get involved certainly wasn't, however. Rose said with a giggle, causing Alphonse's ears to turn pink at the tips. Anyway, he said, crouching down to inspect the ground level. Have you managed to gather anything about the culprit from your previous investigations? Rose nodded. Judging by the bite marks left on the victims, I believe that the vampire is likely male. Furthermore, despite victims being found all across the city, the bite marks look the same as one another. That suggests the work of a single vampire. Beyond that, however, Rose fell silent. Is something bothering you? Alphonse asked without thinking. Yes, actually. It may be possible that the vampire lurking in the city is... She stopped mid-sentence. Her gaze was focused on something behind Alphonse. Turning around, he saw a young man in military uniform, much like himself. It was someone he knew. Elroy? What are you doing here? I was about to ask you the same thing, the other man grumbled. Elroy was a fellow member of the Gerard team, who would join around the same time as Alphonse did. That, combined with the two being roughly the same age, one might expect them to get along well. But in reality, they usually ended up arguing about everything. It had been like that for almost as long as Alphonse had known him. I'd heard you'd formed a separate team to check up on the murders. But I had no idea that it was just a pretext to be meeting a woman during working hours, Elroy sneered. Alphonse stifled his annoyance. At least it seemed as if the other man hadn't overheard their earlier conversation. Clearing his throat, Alphonse said evenly, She's a civilian who's assisting with my investigation, so knock it off. And you? What are you doing here? Nothing in particular. I just happen to be passing by. We've got to patrol a much wider area now thanks to all this vampire nonsense. Alphonse stood and gave him a cold look. Watch what you're saying. People in this area have lost family and friends because of these murders. Elroy snorted and cast an uncaring glance at the spot where the first victim had been found. I mean, seriously? Vampire murders? We're supposed to be the Imperial Army, not a bunch of country bracers. Are we seriously considering the possibility that fairy tale creatures like that exist? And besides, what kind of idiot goes out in the night when there's a serial killer on the loose? They were asking for it, if you ask me. People need to stay in their damn homes and stop making more work for us. You son of a... Enraged by the sheer callousness of Elroy's words, Alphonse started towards him, or tried to, rather. Strong, unyielding fingers held him by the arm. Completely expressionless and without so much as a glance at Elroy, Rose whispered, Arguing with him serves no purpose. That time would be better spent investigating. She spoke calmly, but her words were sharp and dismissive. What she said was right, though, and hearing it was enough for Alphonse to cool his temper. As she said, they had more important things to be doing. He had sworn that he would solve these murders and put the past behind him, and that needed to be his foremost priority. He took a deep breath to regain his composure. The reassuring weight of the silver sword hidden in his uniform further reminded him of what he needed to do. Watching them, Elroy gave a bored, derisive laugh. Oh, and a civilian helper, or whatever you are. Don't you go wandering around at night either. The last thing the army needs is more dead bodies to clear up. And with a mocking wave, he left them. After their inspection of the first crime scene, Alphonse and Rose spent the remainder of the day scrutinizing the scenes of the second and third murders, but in the end their search yielded no fruit. After reporting their progress to Gerard, he made his way to the Alegria, where he had promised to meet Rose to discuss how they would proceed with their investigation. The city around him was bathed in the orange glow of the setting sun when Alphonse finally stepped into the sparsely populated tavern. He found Rose sitting at a table near one of their windows. Once again, she was wearing the navy coat from their first meeting. It seemed safe to assume that the rapier she had used that night was inside it too. Evening, she called out to him. I was expecting you to be here sooner. Alphonse didn't reply. He was too busy staring at the girl sitting opposite her. What's wrong, Luca? Luca turned at the sound of her name, eyes so wide and moist that tears threatened to fall at any moment. Alfie, just what is this woman to you? What? Perplexed, he looked over in Rose's direction as if seeking an explanation. Rose favored him with a bland expression. All I did was walk into this tavern and state I would like an out-of-the-way table to discuss the future with Al, and she has been pressing me with endless questions ever since. She sighed and shrugged her shoulders as if she understood the situation no better than Alphonse did. Seeing this, he let out an even greater sigh. Before Luca could launch into another interrogation, Alphonse set about explaining Rose's role as a civilian helper, aiding an army investigation, and after several reassurances, he was eventually able to clear up the misunderstanding. Luca's relief seemed to fill her with renewed energy. Cheerfully, she bounded up from their table and made her way into the back of the tavern again. With her departure, so too left the gazes of the other curious and amused patrons. Rose and Alphonse bent to discussing their investigation. Vampires, Rose elaborated, were only able to use their powers at night. During the day, they were no different from ordinary humans. Unfortunately, this meant that even if they were to encounter one, neither of them would be able to tell. If they hoped to end the murders, they would first need to find some kind of clue as to the vampire's true identity. At one point during the conversation, Alphonse went pale at the thought that they might have to exhume the corpses of previous victims in order to reinvestigate them. But Rose assured him that would not be necessary. To his great relief, she had already checked them thoroughly for clues. Even that gruesome task had yielded little more information than the similarities between the bite marks, though. Their vampire foe was a cunning one, and the number of bodies lack of clues all pointed towards a careful killer who more than likely was living right there among them as an ordinary human. After working their way through the simple meal that Luca brought them, Rose casually glanced over to the back of the tavern. You seemed rather close to that girl, she murmured. It took a few moments for Alphonse to realize who Rose was referring to. Yeah, I suppose you could say that. I've known her for 10 years now, after all. He had first met Luca when he was brought to Heimdall by Gerard. Initially, he had stayed in a house near the tavern, and being brought by it often. The two of them quickly became friends. As an orphan, Luca's support over the years meant more to him than words could express. Telling Rose all of this, Alphonse could feel his cheeks heating. He began fidgeting awkwardly. I'm a little envious, Rose said. As she spoke, Alphonse noticed a change in her expression and tone. Usually she said things sharply or with an air of cool detachment. Her face also rarely betrayed her in her thoughts. Now, though, he thought he caught a hint of loneliness. Unable to let this pass unnoticed, Alphonse opened his mouth to comment. Suddenly, Rose jumped out of her seat. Her chair fell to the ground with a crash. Once again, the two of them became subject of a room full of gazes, but she paid that fact no mind and stared out of the window, her eyes wide open. What is it? What's wrong? Alphonse whispered loudly. It's nearby. I could sense it. It? What do you mean? The vampire, she hissed. No sooner as she said it, she raced over to the tavern's owner, who was busy at the back of the building. Alphonse chased after her. He had never seen her in such a panicked state before. Where's the young lady who was here earlier? Rose asked the puzzled tavern owner, who didn't appear to have any idea who she was referring to. It was then that Alphonse realized that he didn't see Luca anywhere, and hadn't seen her since she brought them their food a half-hour before. After telling this to the owner, he finally seemed to realize what was being asked. Now that you mention it, I would have expected her to be back by now. I asked her to run an errand over at the grocery store opposite here. Alphonse and Rose exchanged a glance and instantly understood what the other was thinking. Overcome with a sense of great foreboding, the two of them rushed out of the shop without saying a word. What is going to happen to Luca? We must know. Well, let's head to the dormitory and get on to the next day. I'm fairly sure I did everything right on this day. Should be fine. No, hey. Game, please. So now we have the practical exam to go through.
Oh, Rean.
Oh, hello, Emma.
Good evening.
What's up?
Did you just get back too?
Yeah, I was busy with club-related work until just now. I'm glad I ran into you, though. I heard from Elisa that you went into the old schoolhouse again?
Yeah, and we made some pretty crazy discoveries while we were at it. We're going to need to keep investigating that place on a regular basis, I'd say.
Well, I'd be more than happy to accompany you next time. The request was made to the whole of Class 7, after all, and I'd like to do everything I can to help.
Really? That's very kind. Thank you. Maybe I should ask Fee next time, too. And Eusis, and Machias, while I'm at it.
Huh, Fee would be a good choice at the very least. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to accompany us, or more than willing anyway. As for Eusis and Machias, I'm sure a chance will present itself for them to make friends eventually. Maybe then?
Never.
One can only hope. We really have to do something about those two already.
Oh my! Rean, what happened to your right hand?
Oh, this? A beautiful lady I ran into in town did it. Or at least I think she was a lady.
Come again?
A black cat with really glossy fur. I've never seen it around before. I assume it belongs to someone in town since it was wearing a blue ribbon and a bell. I must have done something to offend it though, because it got all grumpy out of nowhere and scratched me up pretty good.
I'm so sorry.
What?
Please, sit down on the sofa. I'll bring a first aid kit and dress that wound right away.
Thanks. Do you know it or something?
No, not at all. I've just seen it around town a few times. Anyway, I'll go get the first aid kit. Don't go anywhere.
It's just a little scratch. I don't know why she's making such a big deal out of it. I've never seen Emma get so flustered before. There we go. That should do it. This textbook Emma lent me is really helpful. I might actually be able to get decent grades on next month's midterms thanks to her. Doubt I'll be able to even come close to matching her own grades though. Or Machias's for that matter.
I wasn't trying to help you, but I did cause you some trouble during last month's field study, so...
Whether you're a noble or not is beside the point. The bottom line is you lied to me, and I simply cannot trust those who lie.
There's a lot about both Machias and Eusis that we don't know. Maybe in time we can discover something about them that'll help us mend their relationship a little. This seems like a good place to stop for a quick breather. Abend time is about to start anyway.
The day is done, and it's time to cast off your cares right here. It's the Misty you know and love coming to you live from Radio Trista.
Oh, actually, I guess it's already started. Misty's voice is always so soothing.
We're now in the second half of May, and the greenery all over Erebonia is beginning to reach its peak. It's the perfect time of year to enjoy nature, and the weather is absolutely perfect for a great hike. Listeners in Heimdall have Modern Park to enjoy with its spectacular glass garden. Though, for those willing to hop on a train, I heartily recommend a trip to Lunaria Nature Park. Administrative issues kept it closed for a while, but it finally reopened this month, and it's worth making the trip. You can relax and take in the scenery of this vast, almost mystical forest, and then grab a cold beer on the way back. I can't think of a better way to spend the weekend. Can you? Whoops! With all you students tuning in, maybe I shouldn't recommend boozing it up, should I? You might not be able to grab a cold one just yet, but fresh milk or fruit juice are pretty refreshing in their own way. Anyway, let's see who sent us some mail today, shall we? This first one's from future 3-star chef from Bereahard.
Alright, Sarah, what do you have for us today? Ooh, it's a new one. Why us? Can't lean on Elliot, unfortunately. We get the, I guess, A team. Guys, running around at 14 is not good either. What are his ornaments? Okay, he has 2 open. Heal, move. I don't know, throw poison on his ass and throw Forte, I guess. I don't know. She really needs to... Yeah, that's not good at all. We're all healed up, yeah. Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess that's fine. That's as good as we're gonna get, essentially. What's our goal for this one, Sarah?
Well, shall we begin?
Oh, of course, it gets to start off first. Cancel an enemy art. And it doesn't start off by doing an art. Good. Perfect. Yay. Good counter, though. Let's see. I need a link. A soul blur.
It's my turn.
She needs it to link. She can't do Blessed Arrow, unfortunately. We'll go Heat Wave.
It's my turn.
He has 200 CP, that's good. We'll go ahead and... Turbulence.
To me.
Nice thrust.
I've got you.
Not nice thrust, Jesus Christ. We're not doing any damage.
My turn.
Could go Earth Cleaver. Yeah. Break its movement down, force it to start using crafts and arts and whatever.
Here we go. All right, let's do this.
Pop up a Motivate real quick. Oh, you're gonna be annoying, aren't you? You're gonna be really annoying, aren't you? Oh, shit. She now use her Blessed Arrow.
Thanks. All right.
Pop off a Gale Stinger. Nice thrust.
I've got you. Right. Shatter.
Armor Breaker.
Now.
Good slash going.
My turn.
I can't do anything. Alright, it's half health. There we go. And Rean gets an attack in. Perfect.
Go.
Good Pierce.
My turn.
So Autumn Leaf Cutter slashes foes with while dashing by them.
There.
Impede. Cancel that shit.
All right.
Let's just bang on it for a while.
Of course.
You at 100 yet? No, you're at 99. Jesus. Come on. Oh, I could have used. Oh well. Now she's at 100. Oh. Alright, Laura. Knock it out of the park. And an overkill. And a scouter. Good job, guys. Beautiful. Oh, just swap Machias out for Fee, it'll be fine. Can we just slap him a little bit? Make him wake up? I see y'all did alright. I think you passed.
That concludes today's practical exam. Next, I'll be announcing the details of this weekend's field study. Each of you, please come forward and take one of these.
These assignments.
We got Rean, Emma, Machias, and Eustace and Fee. Perfect. We're going to Bereahard, the Verdant City. And then Elisa, Laura, Elliot, and Gaius all get to go to St. Arc.
Bereahard and St. Arc. Both very well-known cities here in the Empire.
Bereahard's the capital of the Kreutzen province in the east, right?
And St. Arc is the capital of Sutherland in the south.
2 provincial capitals. They seem like fair choices.
I guess they are, but that's the least of our worries.
Is this some kind of sick joke? Instructor, what are you trying to prove? Do you have some sort of personal vendetta against us or something?
For a change, I agree with him. This is ludicrous. I refuse to accept these group allocations. Change them at once.
Oh, you child.
I don't know. They seem pretty perfect from where I'm standing. Besides, you're from Bereahard, so putting you in Group A was a no-brainer.
Then put me in Group B! I'm not thrilled at the thought of going to St. Arc either, but it's better than gallivanting off to his hometown. Besides, everyone knows Bereahard is like a breeding ground for nobles and their dusty old ideas. The place is crawling with them.
Well, I can't deny that. Especially since that's exactly why I put you in Group A to begin with. I'm no army officer, so I'm not about to go telling you that my orders are absolute and such. That's much too military for my liking. But I am your instructor, and it's my duty to look out for your best interests, which I feel is exactly what I'm doing here. So if you have any objection, then how about the 2 of you try to make me listen to them by force?
Interesting.
You're not seriously going to...
Oh, come on, don't...
Male pride is so predictable. I knew you couldn't possibly turn down an offer like that, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
You got some flashy weapons there, Sarah. I like them.
the sword?
Those are terrifying looking weapons.
That's the spirit. Rean, why don't you give them a hand?
No,
I'll take on all
why?
3 of you.
Stop.
Yes, instructor.
I didn't do nothing. Leave me out of this.
What a powerful aura.
All right, it's time for some extreme extra credit. If you think you can convince me to change your assignments, well, let's just see how well you measure up.
Okay,
All
I got you.
Show me what you've got.
We don't have anything available to us. No, okay. Oh, okay. That's cool. Rean's dead.
Right.
Well, we can't link with Eustace at all, so that's useless. Break shot. Oh, hey, cool, you missed. Perfect. Rapid thrust. Oh, cool, you missed too. Hey guys, you're pretty awful. You know that?
This can't be happening.
Man! So you're not supposed to win that fight at all. Ever. It doesn't matter. You're always going to lose.
Impossible. Are you okay?
No, they're
I
dead.
had
Look
no
at them.
idea she was that strong.
I believe she was holding back, too.
Her combat style is most unique. I couldn't even hazard a guess as to what school she represents.
She doesn't represent a school, Laura. Stop being a sword artist.
This means... Yep. Decision's final.
Chalk one up for the educator.
I don't know why these children thought they could take on a
Group
teacher,
A and
but
Group
whatever.
B will be heading to their destinations this weekend as planned. Good luck, everybody. I'll be expecting
Thanks, Sarah.
souvenirs.
Can I get a bandage?
Your rank's gone up. Here's a little something from the academy. You did really well, Rean.
I don't sense anyone else on this floor. Seems like everyone's already out of their rooms. Suppose I should head down too.
All rare quartz and accessories have been unequipped from the other group's members. And with that, I think that's a good stopping point. Thanks for watching.